Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, wherever you are in the world. This is your host, Lavinia Syne, and today we're going to be continuing on Author Cassie Miles' novel, Snowblind. It's going to be chapter 6. If you want to check the rest, from chapter 1 to 5. The link will be right above, so you can check it out. But before you go to check the other videos, I just want to let you know this video is going to be totally different in a way where I'll be reading bits and pieces from chapter 6 and I'll be making commentaries. I'll be basically summarizing the whole of chapter 6. Why I'm doing it is because I cannot legally read the whole book online because I'm not in contract with the publishing company, and it will be basically like having an audiobook of the novel, which can happen. So I'm just gonna be doing a small review of the chapter, and if you want to actually read the whole book, the link will be in the description below. Go ahead and check it, and there will be pieces where I'll prompt you to comment to see where you are with the book. So without further ado, grab yourself your cup of tea or coffee and join me. Welcome back, and again, Merry Christmas. I hope your Christmas went wonderful. If you have any interesting story, let me know in the comment below. Or you can even, if you're on my Instagram, you can even comment on my social media, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. I will be posting a picture of this video on my social media, so you could always comment there to let me know how your Christmas went. As I said in the intro, this video is going to be different than the other 5. So what I did was I just did some of my commentaries in this book here, so I will go through this and the book at the same time to go through my commentaries with you to do a small summary of what chapter 6 is all about. It's a bit more work than my other videos, but let's see how this goes. I hope you guys enjoy it, because I am enjoying doing the videos, even though I'm not doing as much videos as I would like to right now. But let's see what chapter 6 have for us. And again, if you want the book itself, the link will be in the description below. Don't forget to give the author a shout out if you want, or buy the book for yourself, whichever one you like. Chapter 6, Brady took off in pursuit. So this is the opening line, and I gotta say it's interesting. It's in own way, because the author Cassie Miles pushes the reader to go into the environment and into the space that Brady is in, and that's a very good way of making the readers engage with the story. To continue on from this same paragraph is the curved corridor had narrow windows on the outer wall, admitting slashes of sunlight across the concrete floor. Tell me from this you don't actually see the light piercing through the windows and hitting the floor. The image it created, it's beautiful, and it just puts you there, and this is exactly why alright reading so much. It's like you are in that space, in that corridor with Brady. You're seeing what's happening, experiencing that moment. It's a whole different world you're into. Another detail I picked up on from this book, from the beginning of the chapter itself, was how Cassie Miles showed us the struggle that Brady went through in that split second where he was running towards the intruder. And I'll just read this one for you, and then you can see for yourself how she shows the struggle that Brady goes through. As a bodyguard, he should have dropped back and made sure she was protected. But he was also a cop, and he sure as hell didn't want this guy to escape. Okay, in the comment section, let me know. Do you think Brady should run after the guy? He should protect Sasha? What should he do? And better yet, what will you do if you were in his place? If you were Brady, what would you have done? I want to know. So in the comment section, just let me know that. So going on after that, so chasing the man into the arena, basically cornering him, because once you're in the arena there's nowhere to go. We learned that it's none other than Sam Moreno, the self-help guru. So if you remember from the previous chapters, Sam Moreno is one of the investors for the Arcadia Hotel. Pleased to meet you, Brady said. Why did you run? I make it a point to be punctual. Our meeting was scheduled to start. For future reference, when a law enforcement officer asks you to stop, you should obey. I thought that cell phone in your hand was a weapon. It would seem that if you are a self-help guru like Sam Moreno, even if an officer of the law is chasing you with a gun, you can't stop because your meeting is more important. From Brady's tone and the way he described Sam Moreno with his olive skin complexion and, I quote, features as symmetrical as an artist's drawing of a face, he didn't really like him. Brady hadn't gotten the chance to question Moreno the previous night because Mr. Self-Help Guru needed to have a specific amount of hours of sleep, and Sasha had convinced Brady to not wake him up after certain hours. Personally, I think Sam Moreno is a bit suspicious. Check this out. Citing a violent crime usually got someone's attention, but Moreno didn't react. I have nothing to hide. Where were you last night? In my suite at the Gateway Hotel. I had dinner at 6, meditated until 7:30, and worked on my next book with my secretary until 9 when I went to bed. Did you leave the suit? I don't believe I did. He gave a thin smile. You can check with the concierge. So from this we can see that Mr. Self-Help is giving away too much information too quickly, and that in itself makes him a bit suspicious in my eyes. How about you guys? What do you think of Sam Moreno? Do you think he's a bit suspicious or not at all? Or I'm just reading too much in it? Or he's just plain out arrogant? That's why. Also, as Brady put it, each one of the people Sasha worked with were egocentric each one worse than the last. But then again, Julie, who is Brady's uncle, suggested from the book. He said, I quote, "Start by harassing simple Sam Moreno. He's as slippery as a river otter, but not as cute." So from this itself, it told me that Sam Moreno is a character of its own. So let's see what we have next. Okay, deciding to stay for the meeting to get the inside scoop on all the investors, not because they were suspect per se, but because they were relevant people in the investigation. Plus, Brady could learn something about them as a person while observing them in action. And by them, I mean all of the investors, their assistant, and the people surrounding them. Like, for example, Sam Moreno didn't come with only one assistant. He had at least 4 different people around him, just following him around, doing whatever he wants, because he's very particular, needs specific food, specific things in a certain way. So from that we can see that by staying in the meeting, Brady gets a chance to observe everyone in that circle. And since Julie was his uncle and part of this meeting, none of them could actually kick Brady out, especially even if they didn't want a law enforcement person in their meeting. And this is what I called 2 birds, 1 stone. 2 birds, 1 stone. Because Brady gets to 1, investigate the people surrounding the hotel and the murder that was in the hotel, and 2, protect Sasha in case something happened during that meeting. And while we're on the topic of Brady, I gotta say his uncle, Julie, is one amusing, sarcastic, and a bit of an out there old man. At the very least, from this particular chapter. Going forward, I'm not sure how Julie is gonna be, but right now I kind of like this old man. Apparently, by him I mean Julie and his wife are quite the matchmaker. For example, that one's real pretty, Julie said. How'd you get hooked up with our little Sasha? She's a witness to a possible murder, and I'm not hooked up with her. Don't lie to me, boy. The only other time I've seen that goofy look on your face was when you were 12 years old and your daddy bought you that Ron Fitty named Harriet. The fond memory made him grin. Harriet was a beauty. It's about time you start looking at women the same way. How old are you? 30? 31, Brady said, old enough that I don't need advice on women. Yeah, then how come you're still living alone in that cabin of yours? Maybe I like it that way. Your aunt says you're the next one in line to get married and start popping out babies for her to play with. Should be over the moon if I told her you had a serious girlfriend. And that's one way to pitch someone to be a girlfriend or boyfriend. Just hit that emotional button. You did it right. Okay, now returning to my comments in summary. However, Brady was not easily swayed. He considered the fact that he was a cowboy living in Arcadia, while Sasha was a city girl. Her work at the Denver law firm was important to her, and she wanted to be a professional. Living on a ranch would bore her to tears. Quoted from the book. And interestingly, we discover that Brady's mom was a city girl, just like Sasha, and his father was a cowboy, just like Brady is. And unfortunately, things didn't particularly work out for his mom and dad. From the book, though she tried her best to adjust to country life, by her I mean Brady's mom, she needed the stimulation of the city, and she divorced his dad when Brady was 10 years old. Mom had stayed in touch even after she started her new family in Denver, where she had a little flower shop. He'd wanted to stay angry at her, even to hate her, but he couldn't. She was different from bad Brady and his dad, and she wasn't a bad person. Just city girl and little town boy. Sometimes doesn't go well. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does not. So Brady was basically faced with a situation because he had history, or very personal history, where he could see that these two people from these two worlds didn't work out, and now he was in the same situation. Not that Sasha and him were in actual relationship, or they were actually in love yet, but if he wanted to venture toward this path, he would be faced with this situation where he has a history that was backed up by his own failed family, and now Sasha is a city girl, so he will find himself in a very big impasse if he does fall in love with Sasha. So then we'll have to see how it goes for him later on. Additionally, it was Brady's mom who encouraged Brady to follow his heart and find work that was meaningful to him. That was when he became a deputy. Now you may ask, why? Why deputy? So, even though Brady was born and raised a cowboy, he always wanted a job that allowed him to help other people. And joining the sheriff department was one of the best moves he have ever made in his life. Brady's word, not mine. This whole time, Sasha allowed herself to enjoy the pure athletic sensation of liquid speed as she flew across the ice in the cool air of the arena. This was while she was waiting for Katie Cook, one of the investors, to start the meeting, because in chapter 6, Katie Cook had asked everybody to get on the ice rink with her while she was twirling around, because she was the ice queen per se. So that's basically why they were all in the ice rink, was when they were supposed to be doing meeting, and Sasha was supposed to be taking notes. And even though Sasha had no clue why Katie Rink wanted everybody on the ice rink, what she knew was Damian, her boss, will not be very happy about them spending time on the ice rather than actually working and taking another step towards the deal that they were making. It seems Sasha was anxious to just take all the necessary notes and get out of there. And if I were her, with a killer on the loose trying to get to me before the murder can be actually proven, I'll be worried too and I'll be anxious to get my work done. So yeah, way to go, Sasha. Just try to stay hidden, I'll say. To add to Sasha's misery, Cathy Cook and Moreno basically cornered her on the ice rink and started to dig for information about Mr. Westfield's murder. If you remember Westfield, he's one of the guys who died back in Denver, a very rich guy who apparently knows all of the investors. We don't exactly know why or how he's connected with them, but so far we just know that Damien has specifically asked for Sasha to not divulge any information about Mr. Westfield's murder to the investors. As far as she was concerned, she didn't know anything about the murder, the possible murder, because technically the first news was that Mr. Westfield died from an accident from the stairs. So now there's a possibility that he was pushed. The information more about his murder are from chapter 1 to 5. It's throughout there. They were basically baiting Sasha to reveal more about Mr. Westfield, and even though she knew about it, she was still struggling to maintain her composure or keep her tongue tight. One way that they were baiting her was by insulting Mr. Westfield, probably knowing that Sasha cared about him. So quoting from the book, Westfield's mind wasn't sharp, Moreno said. I heard he wanted to leave his fortune to his cat. Is that right, Sasha? It wasn't. She wanted to speak up and defend Mr. Westfield, who hadn't been senile in any way. Say nothing, say nothing. She tried to change the subject. I wasn't aware that all of you knew each other. And what an effective way to turn the conversation around. As Brady mentioned earlier, they were all egocentric, which means they loved talking about themselves. So when Sasha asked them if they knew each other, basically asking them if they knew each other, they obviously couldn't stop themselves but to speak about them. We start with Moreno's quotation. My relationship with Westfield was long-standing and true, Moreno explained. Like many people who have spent their lives accumulating property, he neglected the inner growth that would make his life truly meaningful and profitable, Cathy said cynically. And profitable, Cathy said cynically. I'm sure you told him how to invest. I advised, Moreno said. He listened. Sasha had been involved with the investors long enough to understand the subtext. All of them made their money with real estate. Dougley got his land the old-fashioned way. He had inherited thousands of acres in the mountain. Reinhard was a developer. Cathy Cook and her surgeon husband owned commercial buildings in downtown Denver, and San Marino reaped commissions for turning land into cash on a house-by-house basis. So the Arcadia project was basically a nest egg for all of them combined. But Sasha was still struggling to see how Westfield actually fitted in that picture. And thankfully for her, Brady called her name and waved to her before she could open her mouth and try to defend Westfield. And basically keeping her job, especially since she's kind of in a trouble right now with the whole murder case and disturbing the guests. So when Brady called for her, it was a perfect excuse, and Sasha grabbed it without hesitating. When she reached the edge, she leaned toward Brady. "Thanks for giving me an excuse to get away from them." "You're welcome, but that wasn't my intention." "What is it?" she asked. "Your briefcase is ringing." He held it up. She scrambled off the ice and sat on a bench before opening it. The last thing she needed was to spill the document inside or break her laptop. This call had to be from David. She didn't expect good news. And this is it for chapter 6. I know it's different from the rest, and since it's going to be more reacting and commenting and just giving my opinions and reading bits and pieces, I'm going to be trying to make it more presentable for you to watch and read and listen. But either way, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like, subscribe, and turn on that bell notification to know when my next video is. Do interact with the video, comment, and just answer the questions that was asked during this video. If you have any other question of your own, feel free to comment it. I will try to answer as much as I can. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video.